of it. Sherry Debrick doesn't remember what her life was like before a devastating car accident that happened 22 years ago. Now she's written a book to help others who may go through the same thing.
How close were you to dying?
My good friend, who was like a second father to me, he's a psychologist, and he told me that I was sitting on the lap of the angel of death.
Now, when somebody tells you something like that you are this close to dying, what does that mean to you? What do you think?
I'm lucky.
Sherry Debrick had everything to live for. She was beautiful, popular, and a dancer who had just made the high school drill team. But all of that was taken away in the blink of an eye. She was riding with a friend on her way to a softball game.
I looked out the window to my left, and I saw this huge truck coming at us, and I screamed, "There's a truck coming right at us." And that's all I remember.
In truth, she didn't even remember that until months later. Sherry was in a coma for 6 weeks after that accident.
You wake up out of a coma. What are you thinking when people tell you it's actually 6 weeks later?
You wake up, you don't know the past, the present, or the future, who you are. You can't move your body. You know what you want to say, but you cannot say it. It boggles the mind. When I came out of the coma, I had the mentality of an infant. My eyes would be open, and I'd follow people around, but nothing would register. No emotions. My mom didn't know what I was thinking.
And you weren't really thinking.
I was just observing what was going around, like a little baby, they just, watch you walk around. I didn't even know who my mom and my brother were. They were with me for several weeks, and then I slowly started to remember. I didn't know why my brother was with me, but he liked to talk to me.
When you look at this car, it's hard to believe she survived. Emergency crews had to use the jaws of life to get her out. It wasn't just a severe head injury Sherry had to deal with.
My left side was paralyzed.
Sherry also had a broken pelvis, ruptured lungs, and fractured ribs. For months after that accident, she still wasn't able to use her left hand, which her mother refused to give up on.
And I kept it curled up and hidden. And she asked me, "Why aren't you moving your left hand?" And I said, "Because it won't work." And she said she had to think fast because she called it my lazy hand, and I didn't like any part of me being called lazy. And she said, "You talk to your hand and you tell it it's going to work." And so I did, like a little kid. I said, "You're going to work. You're going to work." I kept talking to it. It didn't happen instantly, but about a week later, a couple of my fingers were moving, and that lit the fire. I was determined on getting the rest of me healed. If you think negative things are going to happen. I could have given up, yeah, but I wanted my life back. I wanted to be that person everyone told me I was.
But she wasn't that person anymore.
I tried to be that person, but I didn't have a ground base to start from. So my actions didn't make sense to people who saw me.
In other words, the head injury changed her personality.
To this day, do you remember much of your past besides looking at pictures and knowing that you had just made the drill team and all this stuff? Do you remember it?
Not really.
The journey to where she is today wasn't always easy. Sherry says she was mad at God for a very long time. Then, one day she decided to visit a church.
But I walked in the doors, and there was Jesus. It's just a cross, a simple cross, but it held so much more for me. And I sat in on the Mass, I sat in and I listened. Everything was so beautiful. That was where I needed to go. God was waiting for me.
What Sherry learned that day is that she didn't get to that point alone.
My mom was there. God was there with me all the time.
Some of her best memories from that time involve her friends.
Some of my high school classmates came up to sing to me at dinner. I remember this. We were having dinner and they came up to sing to me, barbershop quartet style.
Sherry says a psychiatrist friend helped her through the rough spots and taught her to appreciate even the smallest achievements.
Whenever I'd feel sorry for myself, I did a lot, when after I came out of the accident, Bob would say, "Think of where you are now and where you were then. Picture yourself in the hospital. You couldn't move. Aren't you doing better?" I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "See?" So he taught me how to look at the bright side of things. It takes a lot of courage, strength, and love from those around you. And God, of course.
So that's what pulled you through.
Oh, definitely.
So without the love and the strength of God and the people around you,
There's no way.
Sherry says the accident did have a positive effect on her. From what people have told her about what she was like before, it's definitely changed her priorities.
Bob says that I used to be self-centered, arrogant, a little too confident. I was stuck up then because I was with the in crowd. I was way up here in my sophomore year, but the accident took me down below. But I was embarrassed because of I was in a wheelchair and my condition. I wasn't perfect like I tried to be. I was the worst judge. I judged myself worse than others.
Now Sherry works at a hospital.
when you see people now, as opposed to when you used to see them then on the outside.
Oh man, I can see their hurt through their eyes. That's why I work here at this Wesley Hospital. Because I love, talking to people, helping encourage them to see the bright side of things.
After the accident, Sherry felt she just had to write a book that would help people understand what it's like to go through something like this and how to see the bright side of things as they overcome it.
Because it gives them hope that if I can make it, they can make it too. Through this, that's why I wrote this book. That's why I'm here, is to tell the story.
But telling that story wasn't easy.
It took 18 years to write it though. But I had to grow up at the same time, so the book wrote itself. This happened to me. I didn't have a book to follow to see what was normal. This book, it tells the good and the bad.
It's called Learning to Walk Again Was the Easy Part.
What was the hardest part?
Learning how to live again. How to be me. For about 20 years, I was looking for this ghost, this person I used to be, this image. I was searching for this ghost everywhere. And I finally just realized it's a ghost. I've got to stop looking for it and just start being me.
And the me she's become is pretty spectacular.
And I like who I am now. I feel more comfortable being this person. Bye, you have a good, safe drive. Take care.
A comfortable person who understands
The power of the human spirit is so alive in all of us. We need to let it out and not keep it under wraps. This accident, I have seen so much and been through so much. I think it's hard for me to say, that I think this accident was a blessing.
Sherry's book is called Learning How to Walk Again Was the Easy Part. You can find it at Barnes & Noble here in town, or you can order it online from Amazon.com. If you want to see baseball the way it's supposed to be played, there's a place nearby where you can